Let me paint you a picture of what the Cleveland Browns look like right now, today, March 31st, 2026. Their best player's contract was just quietly restructured in a way that makes him dramatically easier to trade, and the GM refuses to explain why. A free agent defensive end they agreed to sign just had his deal blown up after a failed physical, and nobody will tell you what they actually found. Their quarterback room has 3 guys, one who hasn't played in 2 years, one who just went 46th out of 42 passers in quarterback rating as a rookie, and one who hasn't even snapped a ball in a regular season NFL game yet. And the GM just stood in front of reporters at the league meetings and said, quote, "It is wholly realistic they add a 4th quarterback on top of all of that." And their new $2.6 billion stadium is already over budget before a single wall has gone up. This organization is operating in complete and total chaos right now, and I am going to walk you through every single piece of it because every one of these stories connects to the same terrifying question. Does Andrew Berry actually have a plan, or is this franchise completely making it up as they go? Let's start with Myles Garrett, because this is the story that set the entire week on fire. Yesterday was a busy day for the Cleveland Browns as Andrew Berry met with reporters at the annual league meetings in Arizona, and basically, Cleveland reporters traveled across the country to ask Berry questions about the Myles Garrett situation, which remained a story of interest despite the team's emphatic denials that they have any intention of trading the star defensive end. The result at the end of the day was that Berry again proclaimed that Garrett isn't going to be traded, while refusing to say why they changed his contract. Yardbarker let that sink in for a second. He will not explain the contract change. He will only keep repeating that Garrett is not being traded. And he genuinely seemed annoyed that anyone was still asking. But here's why this matters. The Browns and Garrett agreed to restructure his contract in a way that pushes back the execution dates for option bonuses in 2026 through 2028, a move that directly reduces the current year cap hit if he is moved after June 1st. 247 Sports, that is not a coincidence. That is not routine paperwork. Contract analysts at Over the Cap looked at this change and said there's no other logical explanation for making those specific modifications. And both sides could be right at the same time. The cap analysts are likely dead on about their interpretation of the changes, and the Browns could still be speaking the truth. It is just that their flexibility is now greater in the event that some team comes up with a compelling enough offer. Browns Nation, but Berry sat in front of reporters yesterday and would not give them even that much. He just kept saying Myles is a career Brown and moved on. And I want you to remember something. If the Browns trade Myles Garrett, it would be because they believe it puts the team in a better position to finally land a top quarterback and become competitive in time to sell those expensive PSLs in the Jimmy Haslam Superdome. Bleacher Report, that is the only reason this trade ever makes sense. And every single thing this front office has done this offseason points in that direction. Every single thing. Now, let's talk about the Epenesa situation because this happened in the last 12 hours, and it is genuinely alarming for this team going into April. The Cleveland Browns will not be signing A.J. Epenesa, with the team uncomfortable finalizing the deal after the veteran defensive end had his physical, a source told ESPN on Sunday. Fans cited the Browns had agreed to a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million with Epenesa on March 18th, and Epenesa visited the Browns facility last Monday, but the deal was not finalized. Dogs by nature now here is what makes this so strange. The news comes as a bit of a surprise as the 6-year veteran has never missed more than 3 games in an NFL season. Dogs by nature, this guy has been one of the most available, most durable edge rushers in the entire league for 6 straight years. He was listed with a foot injury in December and was limited in practice during the Bills' playoff run in January with what was described as a past neck issue. Dogs by nature. And that neck issue is the detail that is making people very nervous right now. A neck issue on a pass rusher is not something you shake off. That is the kind of thing that ends careers. The Browns do not want to be on the hook for a guy who takes one wrong hit and never comes back. And so they walked away. But walking away leaves them with a massive problem. Without Epenesa, the Browns will have to make a corresponding move. Isaiah McGuire, their 4th-round pick in 2023, is the obvious number 3 behind Garrett and Wright, but his role seemed to decline toward the end of 2025. The team also brought back Julian Okwara, but he's hardly a lock to make the 53-man roster after spending all of last season on the practice squad before eventually landing on injured reserve in December. Dogs by nature, so let me be direct with you. If Myles Garrett is on this roster in Week 1, the drop-off from him to the next guy on the depth chart is one of the steepest in the entire NFL. and the Browns just lost the one veteran they were counting on to bridge that gap. This is a good year to need help at edge rusher entering the draft, as the 2026 crop is projected to be among the deepest in recent memory. The Browns hold 4 selections inside the top 70 and 9 picks total in this draft, but they seem highly unlikely to target an edge in any of the first 3 rounds. Dogs by nature, so either this problem gets solved in free agency in the next few weeks, or it goes unaddressed entirely. Neither of those options is good. Now, let's get to the quarterback situation, because this is where things went from messy to completely unhinged. And it happened yesterday at the exact same league meetings where Barry was dodging Garrett questions. Browns general manager Andrew Berry admitted that it is wholly realistic the team will acquire another quarterback before training camp practices get underway. Our lean would be if we do add someone to the quarterback room. It would be someone who's a younger player, most likely, Berry explained. But I can't state that definitively because I don't know what the next couple of weeks will hold. Anyone that we bring in at any spot on the roster, our thought is that they are competing. They are competing to play. 247 Sports, so let me just lay out what the Browns quarterback room currently looks like, because I think when you hear it out loud it really hits different. You have Deshaun Watson, 30 years old, has not played a single snap in 2 full NFL seasons, is coming off a twice-torn Achilles, cost this franchise 3 first-round picks and $230 million in fully guaranteed money, and produced 9 wins in 19 starts. You have Shedeur Sanders, who showed flashes as a rookie but posted a 56.9 quarterback impact score last season, ranking 46th among all passers. Bleacher Report 46th. And you have Dillon Gabriel, who has not started a regular season NFL game. And now Barry is standing at a podium in Phoenix telling reporters that a 4th quarterback might be coming. Barry mentioned Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson has a bright future in the league, but would not say how interested the Browns actually are. Bleacher Report, and then right on cue, one NFL insider drops the report that Deshaun Watson is currently in pole position for the QB1 job over Shedeur Sanders. Heavy Sports Watson, in pole position for a job on a team that went 5-12 with him on injured reserve. I genuinely do not know what to do with that information. I do not know if it is a negotiating tactic to light a fire under Sanders. I do not know if the coaching staff actually believes Watson can come back and be productive. But I do know this. The Browns are on the hook for dead cap hits of $34.7 million, $25.7 million, $16.9 million, and $8.9 million between 2027 and 2030 after restructuring Watson's deal yet again to bring his cap hit in 2026 down from more than $80 million to $45 million. Yard Barker, this contract is going to haunt this franchise for the rest of this decade. No matter what happens in 2026, whether Watson starts or not, whether Sanders breaks out or not, this team is paying the price for that deal every single year until 2030. And Barry stood at a podium yesterday and said, and I quote, "There is no rule against extending Watson's contract if he performs well." He actually said that about Deshaun Watson, with a straight face, in front of reporters. Now, let's zoom out and connect all of these dots together, because when you look at the Garrett contract situation, the Ebenezer failed physical, the quarterback chaos, and the stadium, something very clear emerges. The Cleveland Browns have a decision to make between finishing building out the rest of their roster to win games in 2026 if Shedeur Sanders is good, or moving on for Myles Garrett and going into a full rebuild next season with a focus on selecting a quarterback high. Heavy Sports, that is it. That is the entire offseason in one sentence. And the problem is that Barry is trying to keep both doors open at the same time, and that is exactly how you end up with a team that is too good to get a top pick and too bad to actually compete. We have seen this movie before in Cleveland. They have been living in the middle of the NFL for the better part of a decade. Not bad enough to get the franchise-changing pick, not good enough to make a run. And right now they are walking directly toward that same trap. The Haslam family has increased their contribution to the new stadium to $1.755 billion, which the Browns say is 67.5% of the total $2.6 billion price tag. 247 Sports, and the groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled for April 30th. The Haslams need this stadium to work. They need fans to buy PSLs. They need a reason for people to get excited about this franchise again. And the only thing that generates that kind of energy in the NFL is a franchise quarterback. So here is the question I keep coming back to. Is Andrew Berry setting the table for Arch Manning in 2027? Tony Grossi at WKNR has already asked publicly if the Browns' 5-year pick trading rule change proposal could be laying the groundwork for a future run at Arch Manning. 247 Sports, and if you trade Myles Garrett, collect 2 first-round picks, struggle in 2026, add another first from your own draft slot, and walk into the 2027 draft with 3 first-round picks and a top 5 selection. You can do almost anything you want. You can trade up to 1. You can take Manning. You can blow the whole thing up and start over with a Ray All foundation. And the new stadium opens in 2029. The timeline fits perfectly. Here is where everything stands right now, as of this morning, March 31st, 2026. Myles Garrett is still a Brown, officially. His contract now makes it significantly easier to trade him, also official. A.J. Epineza just failed his physical, and the pass rush depth behind Garrett is genuinely terrifying. Deshaun Watson is somehow being called the front-runner for the QB1 job despite not playing in 2 years. Andrew Berry said it is wholly realistic a 4th quarterback is coming, and Ty Simpson's name keeps coming up in the same breath. The new stadium is over budget. The groundbreaking is in 30 days, and the draft is in 23 days. Everything is happening at once, nothing is settled, and this front office is being as vague and non-committal as possible on every single major decision. Whether that is genius-level flexibility or total dysfunction, I genuinely cannot tell you right now. But I can tell you that the next 3 weeks are going to tell us everything we need to know about what direction this franchise is actually headed. Drop a comment right now. Do you believe Berry has a real plan? Do you want Garrett traded or kept? And who do you actually want to see start at quarterback in Week 1? And if you are not subscribed yet, hit that button right now because this story is moving every single day, and you do not want to be the last one to know.